contest is set for 3 rounds in the Shamrock Fighting Championships flyweight division. Introducing to you first, on my right, fighting tonight out of the FM Roofing blue corner, a mixed martial artist that stands 5 feet 6 inches tall. He weighed in at 131 pounds. He's fighting out of Villanueva, Zacatecas, Mexico. Ladies and gentlemen, Jose Diaz. Across the cage, his opponent fighting tonight out of the First Form red corner. This fighter stands 5 feet 8 inches tall. He weighed in at 123.6 pounds. Fighting out of Springfield, Illinois, Robbie Collingwood.
Referee Josh Stewart has the call for this contest. This fight is 3 3-minute rounds. Robbie Collingwood in the red tape, Jose Diaz in the blue. And here we go. Collingwood opens up quickly with that shot to the knee. Nice move there, though, out of Diaz. Diaz really told me that it was really all about working in the camp to be calm and less. He had a lot of herky-jerky movements in the last one.
Yeah, you know, Diaz brought Robbie over to the cage here. Robbie immediately attacks a triangle. Clearly, he's very comfortable on his back here. Doing a great job controlling the posture of Jose, now allowing him to, you know, get that distance that he wants so he can land some shots. Attempts an armbar here, using the cage.
Armbar.
Beautiful armbar here.
Big roll.
And there's a lot of time left. These guys are not sweaty. Oh, transitions the armbar to a triangle here. Locks it up. He's had plenty of time. These guys are not slippery. He might even do a triangle armbar here.
Diaz punching away. Can Diaz survive? Using that leg across the neck.
Yeah, great job by Jose to stack Robbie, put that pressure on his neck with his knee, get him to open up those legs. Again, attacks that triangle again, and this one is deep. This one's locked up. He's going to do the same thing.
Diaz
misses,
trying to save himself.
Loses his base a little bit, gets back on top, though. That is deep. I would like to see Robbie hold on to the head here, though.
Diaz trying to survive here, looking to move his way across. Now,
that is deep, and now he lost his base here. I don't know if he's going to be able to recover it. You know, maybe throw some shots here if you're Robbie, but this is just deep. See if he goes back to the armbar, and he does.
Collingwood very comfortable on his back, shifting over to that armbar.
Lots of time here.
Diaz has got to move. There is still 1 minute and 15 seconds remaining in this round.
Yeah, you know, he's leaning towards the hips to try to get that arm free. If he leans towards the head to get that free, he can probably break that grip. Turns it into a mount here, though.
Now we see Collingwood on top, landing some heavy shots.
Looks
now
like he's going for a Darce. Nope.
Rotating
on that.
into that half guard position. He is so heavy on top here.
Threw a knee to threw an elbow to the body. I don't know if that was legal. No elbows to the body. Wasn't the hard shot, but you know.
But in this, elbows are not legal to this group.
Right. We gotta follow the rule set.
Referee Josh Stewart right on top of the action, gives him a hard warning on it. Now this does give Diaz the ability to start back on his feet.
Yeah, that worked out in Diaz's favor.
But did the weight cut take a lot out of Diaz?
Hit that knee again with that crescent kick.
How important is that weight cut action? Big right hand there coming out of Diaz. Answered back by Collingwood. Both of these guys just throwing bombs.
Yeah, Robbie really, he likes that front kick to the knee. He's landed it a few different times, but Jose just putting on the pressure, coming forward. He's got to be careful. He doesn't want to expose that neck. Robbie's clearly very competent on the ground.
Down to 10 seconds remaining here in the first round. Again, looking at that takedown.
I don't think Robbie was too concerned about getting taken down. He's had a lot of success from his back with that triangle armbar attempts. I mean, he's just back and forth between the two.
Yeah, really the story of this round, though, was the ground game here out of Robbie Collingwood. He's able to move from position to position with absolute ease.
Man, his transitions were absolutely beautiful, Jeremy. I mean, he went for the triangle into the armbar, back to the triangle, tried to do an armbar from the triangle. A lot of that round was Jose fighting out of the triangle. I mean, it was a beautiful display of jiu-jitsu. You know, if you're Jose, you gotta want to. You know, if you're Jose, you want to try to keep this on the feet.
Yeah, really, that's been the story. Jose Diaz has got to keep this standing. He's got to move, and he's got to avoid that front kick to the knee.
Yeah, you know, one well-placed kick to really do some damage.
Yeah.
Again, as we're looking at the replay here, again, Brandon's just in that triangle, switches to the armbar. Again, wasn't able to get the finish, but what a beautiful display of jiu-jitsu out of Robbie.
Back into the action here.
Robbie seems to be the fresher of the two. Well, let's see. Coming with that front kick.
You know, Adam, the big thing we got to talk about here, though, is as they're throwing the bombs, Diaz missed weight for this. It was a 125-pound fight, came in at 131. How much can that cut affect him as far as the dehydration goes?
You know, cutting is just hard on the body. And when you don't make weight, that tells me that you had a rough cut. So I have to imagine he's feeling that without a doubt.
Big takedown there out of Diaz.
Right into side control here.
But again, Collingwood has been very comfortable off of his back.
He's clearly comfortable on the ground here, right? His jiu-jitsu is high level. He's going inverted here.
Collingwood from the bottom here, looking for that position, trying to roll out of it. Now Diaz does a good job, though, there of staying in that full guard.
Yeah, I mean.
And full guard is so important.
So, I mean, this is home base on bottom, right? I mean, Jose was in side control there. He was past the guard. Great job by Robbie to, re-guard where he has an opportunity here to possibly attack this triangle, which was what he was trying to do. Again, as you see, Robbie has that overhook on Jose's right arm. Just doing a good job controlling the posture, not allowing Jose to posture up and land any shots of his own. Then he throws another triangle.
Yeah, it has just been submission after submission from the bottom as we are halfway through the second round here.
Yeah, Jose's doing a good job, fighting off those submission attempts. Robbie wasn't able to lock it up like he did that first round, so great job by Jose to make the adjustment.
But really, the submissions do show in the judge's eyes that you are constantly attacking even if you're in the bottom.
100%, yeah, 100%. And sometimes from the judge's standpoint, the question is, how versed are they in the submission game? And they see that is an effective strategy. Even though you are on bottom, you are the one who's being the aggressor there.
Diaz back to his feet, but again, that attacking the front knee.
Yeah, Robbie's very consistent with that. Again, he's just controlling the posture of Jose, but again, this is a fight. Jose's on top. He is technically winning. Landing some shots here. Again, Robbie's just controlling the posture, and Jose might be a little tired.
And well, absolutely, from that cut. He told me, he says it was tough. And as you said, let's go back to that here as we're down to 30 seconds in round two, that on top is winning.
Yeah.
But will the submissions be enough to give this to Collingwood 2-0, 1-1?
I'm not sure it'll be enough this round. Jose's doing a really good job of, again, just defending those submission attempts. Robbie wasn't able to get a triangle locked up like he did that first round. The real story of this round is Jose, while he hasn't, again, landed a lot of shots, not a ton of damage done, he did control a majority of that round.
So then as you go into here, the third and final round, if you're in the corner of Jose Diaz, what advice are you going to give him?
Keep doing what you're doing. Be patient, be smart. I think he is getting the better of the exchanges on the feet. If you do go to the ground, just, again, be smart. You know he's going to attack that triangle, so let's not get caught in that.
Adversely here, what advice are you going to give to Collingwood because he's not been able to finish him?
It's 1-1. You got to win this next round. As you see in this replay here, Jose, gets on top. If you're Robbie, you need to do something with that situation if you are on bottom there. So, we have to be active on the ground, and ideally, if you can get on top and do some damage there, let's get on top and do some damage.
Third and final round here, Jose Diaz in the blue tape, Robbie Collingwood in the red. 3 more minutes. We got to find a mouthpiece here. There we go. Little confusion in the corner. Now we are set to go. They meet one more time here in the center of the cage, again with that front kick.
Yeah, you know, Robbie's not throwing a ton of combinations with his hands, but he's very active with those kicks. Nice little check there.
But Diaz is pushing forward now, looking for a takedown of his own.
Yeah, you know, Jose's clearly the more comfortable of the two on the ground as he goes for this takedown here. He's got to be careful exposing that neck. Again, these guys are real slippery at this point.
Tough position here. Now we see Diaz pushing and carrying. So now Collingwood has got to carry all that weight on him.
Yeah, that's exhausting. You know, he does have, he's pushing on the head here. He's working that whizzer.
Nice takedown there out of Jose, getting that double. Ends up in full guard again.
And this just kind of shows the fight IQ of Jose. He knows what he needs to do to win. He's being patient. Got the takedown here. He has 2 minutes left in the round. He just needs to control this position, land his shots. If you get a finish, great. But right now you are winning. It's got to be careful, though. You do not want to get put into another triangle or armbar situation.
Yeah. We see a lot of heavy top pressure here coming out of Diaz, landing those short shots.
Great pressure on top. But Brandon has a high guard here. Puts him in a good position to get that triangle or get an armbar, land some shots of his own on bottom, too.
Collingwood is so comfortable off of his back. He is just making this absolutely dirty for Diaz in the top position.
Yeah, you know, it's great to be comfortable on your back, you know, especially when you have a submission game. But you can't be too comfortable where you allow your opponent to keep you there the entirety of the round.
Just under halfway through the third and final round, Diaz with some big shots from the top. Collingwood trying to lock him up here with that closed guard.
Yeah, lands a couple shots of his own. He's going to have to open his guard if he wants to do anything. He moves, trying to get a higher guard again. He's got that foot in the hip, create some distance. Good job. And Jose just being patient here. Big shot over the top. Got 45 seconds here in this round.
Jose in the top position here. Now Collingwood locking up both those hands, but Diaz trying to just posture up and drop some bombs here.
Yeah, again, Robbie's doing a great job controlling the posture. You know, he hasn't eaten a lot of real damaging shots, but, you know, again, Jose is being very active on top. He is throwing punches. He's controlling. Again, you know, Robbie had a lot of success that first round with that triangle, and he just hasn't been able to repeat that success throughout the fight.
A lot of pressure here out of Diaz. Here. Diaz looking to finish in the last 10 seconds of the fight. Nice move there out of Collingwood, kind of minimizing those punches coming in. And there we have it.
Yeah, I mean, great fight, very exciting. I think just Jose was able to just fight very smart. He controlled those last 2 rounds, and in my mind, without a doubt, got the decision.
We'll see how it plays out in the eyes of the judges here. But again, really the story of this fight was heavy pressure from Diaz on the top, but a great active guard out of Robbie Collingwood. It's all how the judges see it. And you know, sometimes the judges see some different things.
You never know what they're going to see. Again, Robbie is very active off his back, but again, Jose just he controlled most of that fight. And again, when you're on top, you're winning in a fight.
Don't forget, we still have a great main event to come as Jake the Prototype Collier takes on Kevin Fitchiel. Both of those guys extremely experienced. Jake Collier, 14 fights in the UFC. Kelvin has fought around the country, but now it is time. Let's send this one up to the cage to Joe Parisi to give us our results.
Ladies and gentlemen, after your 3 scheduled rounds, we now go to the judges' scorecards for tonight's official decision. The judges have all scored this contest in favor of Jose Diaz.
A big win and much needed win for Jose Diaz. He told me, though, he says 135 is where he wants to be. it was a very tough cut, but he was able to eke out that decision tonight, 2 rounds to 1.
You know, he got the decision. You know, you just got to learn your body and how well you adjust to that weight cut, and you know, act accordingly.
Well, we have more action to come, and we'll be right back right here at Shamrock Fighting Championships.